Oh, shoot. Good morning, everyone. Oh, we're going to make sure we hit this record button to capture all the goodness. Good morning, everyone. It's Dr. Z, Greater Self LLC. I appreciate my team. They're so awesome. They always show up on the platform. So this lovely morning, because I wasn't going to come on here because I was totally trying to reserve these days, good morning, for special guests. So if you ever want to be a special guest on the podcast, yes, it's always pretty much going to be live. So make sure you bring your A game. But with that being said, today's topic of double standards, it's amazing how we create these spaces. How you doing out there? I can't remember what over in IG, just so you guys don't think I'm making up stuff, what state you're in, but it always warms my heart to see people that I've known since I was a teenager that got a chance to see me when I was Zeri with the Gap instead of Dr. Z, which if you all notice, there's no wires on these braces. A lot of stuff has been going on these past couple of days. And with that, being able to look at the concept and ideal of double standards, I figured why not go ahead and put it out there, because I wasn't going to come on live because I wanted to reserve Thursdays for guests. However, the other dilemma with that was that I wanted to go work out. So the compromise that I was able to come up with for today, at least, was going to my workout, getting majority of my workout in. Hence, I'm still like the sweat. Yes, I wipe my face off, but I am currently drying as we speak. I got the workout in, I'm here. We were even going to try as a team to like stream it while I was like en route. And I was like, you know what? I need to feel comfortable with being where I'm at. So while I would totally embrace and accept someone else streaming live and them like showing their process, for myself, I did not give myself that space this morning to hold that double standard where it would be okay for me to do the same thing. Instead, I chose, nope, I want to be in my home, so that way the rest of my day can continue to flow. So if you saw any of the posts or any other things up there, definitely had a couple of pointed questions that were specific to what double standards do you hold? And I am probably making an assumption that I don't need to describe what double standards are, but just in case, let's go ahead and kind of put it out there. So a double standard is obviously if there's one standard where 1 to 10 is this, and then there's a whole nother standard where 1 to 10 is this, and they don't look the same. Usually we find ourselves with these double standards showing up more frequently when you look at, economic differences. Like we all know, like, I don't know the exact number on the dollar, good morning, of what the difference is of how much a male will be paid versus a woman, but we know there's a double standard there. When you look at beauty and what people look like, hence me going to the gym is 90% because of me, and the other 10% is because there is a lot of grace that is given and provided to men to not maintain the same physical standard as women. Now, that's not for everyone. It's not always, but overall, in general, there is a space of like, oh, well, if a guy makes a lot of money, he might not need to keep his body in shape. However, for a woman on the opposite side, and I guess things are changing. So there may be that flip of, I guess if you're a cougar or you are a sugar mama, then you might not need to keep your body in shape either. But with those types of double standards in place, it allows for most of us to not embrace the greatest version of ourselves, but we will totally give somebody else space and permission to be their greatest self, or maybe even a lack thereof. My phone seems to be glitching. I can't quite scroll up. So as people join on Instagram, my apologies. I can't actually wave to you because something's stuck. But back to these double standards. So there's a double standard in beauty. There's a double standard in pay. There's even double standards that will create for how we will allow other people to treat us, how we treat other people, and then even how we treat ourselves. So if we look at this and think about this a little more intently, I'm wondering in this space and in this moment, how often you all have allowed someone else to maybe be less, you've given them space to be not kind to themselves and just told them like, hey, it's okay, you got it, you can do this. But then when it comes to you, you are like ripping yourself to shreds, and it's okay. It's okay for you to talk unkindly to yourself, but you won't allow or tolerate other people to do it. Needless to say, if you are actually showing up and working in the space as a therapist, there is a greater chance that you, in particular, spend majority of your day supporting other people, helping them break down maybe some of their negative beliefs or things that are really just not nice things about themselves, and even encouraging them to say nice, kind words to give themselves grace and space. And yet afterwards, and or even in the midst of it, will be talking to yourself, expecting you to hold a higher level of, I guess, perfection, since we did talk about perfection versus procrastination. And yes, if you're seeing this, the boot camp is still going on with the procrastination coach. So please feel free to jump on there, check the links, get in. A lot of great info happening there. But back to what I was saying. As therapists, people that provide services to other folks, I maybe even venture as far as to say, like, if you're a trainer, there may even be a space where you might, itsy bit, hold a little bit of grace for people to explore their process. But literally, your sole job is to push people to be a better version of themselves. Therapist, your job is to help people find those ways and how they can be a better version of themselves and really process through things that have prevented them from doing so. With that being said, why is it that it's so much harder for us as human beings, as people, to give ourselves the same permission, the same grace that we would totally give another person? Why is it that so true? Oh, and LinkedIn, so true. We often create a different and totally much higher expectation for ourselves than others. Yes, like it's okay for someone else to get 80%, but for us, if it wasn't 200, it's a problem. Throw the whole person away. Like what? How and why? Why do we need to be greater individually? Meanwhile, we will totally accept and embrace someone else's 100% for that day being way less. Why is it that we will sometimes, even the double standard can go the opposite way? We'll allow other people to treat us not very kindly, be extremely disrespectful, and still show up and support them in a way that allows them to be great. That statement, if you were to take in and just look historically, when we're not going there, but historically, look at how racism has shown up and what that has looked like, and how people of color have been trained to cater to, a particular non-people of color to ensure that they are safe. These are those double standards, things that you needed to allow to be okay so that you could live in a place that maybe you weren't even supposed to be in, and then continuing those same type of tendencies, even to right now in this minute. Someone may allow a male supervisor, specifically as a woman, and I'll just go with me, like we're going to be me, or I'm going to be the person, may allow a male supervisor or a position of authority to speak to me in a particular way and not think anything of it and see it. And please understand, I do not feel this way, but as the example, and feel like that person was acting from a space of authority and showing leadership and all of these things. And when a woman does the exact same thing, mind you, both were inappropriate in how they're doing it, she immediately will be reprimanded and considered to be a bitch, whatever else, the C word, like, because that to me is significantly more cutting and deep, literally, for showing up the same way. So even in leadership, the way that women lead and the way that men lead, depending on who the audience is, their level of acceptance for themselves, there is a double standard that immediately is created. You all will be hearing for sure over the next couple of months, and then pretty much for the rest of however long I feel like it, it's probably my life, different things about how women can still continue to show up and be the greatest version of themselves and not continue to allow these double standards to prevent women from being naturally and innately great. There are things that women do that when you choose to move in certain arenas or spaces, corporate worlds, leadership, business, that there's an expectation that you own 100% of the time, 24/7, a certain level of masculinity that is considered, oh, now we can take this woman serious, instead of allowing us to be great how we are and not needing to take on additional excessive masculine energy just to be respected as knowing what we know. Setting these double standards, men do it, when women do it, even our kids will sometimes do it. And if you have children, I'm sure you've had the conversations where you've listened to your child talk about someone else or their friends. And again, you can flip it to your friends, you can flip it to yourself. You have talked about someone doing a particular thing, and then literally you, them, whomever will go do the exact same thing and think absolutely nothing about it. It doesn't even cross anyone's mind that like that seriously just happened. Double dipping. If you ever have the opportunity to be in person with me, my old friends, especially ones that have known me since I was younger, they know that I have a thing about, I don't want you reaching in my plate or touching my food. Like if I didn't offer it to you, don't come for it. No double standards here, because I won't do that to you. But other people will have that same standard of, oh, don't touch my stuff, don't be in my plate, don't like eat off my plate or like use my silverware, use my stuff, like it's a wrap. So if you ever see someone being able to use my utensils, I must be in love. Just putting that out there. And then right afterwards, do the exact same thing that you just scolded or harassed someone else for doing to you. Another double standard. And I'm just wondering from the audience, what other, oh, did I maybe miss another one? Yes, and women can be, from Rose on LinkedIn, and women can be harder on other women. Oh my gosh, we need to stop and lift each other up rather than cut each other down. So again, these are my thoughts and my views. You can choose to roll with them, do a little research, or do your own personal exploration. And it keeps coming back to racism, and I don't want to be there or in that space, but those systems really support ensuring that everyone is against each other in some form or fashion all the time, so that those double standards can always be maintained and create new ones and different variations and abbreviations of it, to prevent people from just recognizing it's okay to just be a nice person. It's okay to be respectful to yourself. It's okay to have boundaries. It's okay to seek support when you need help. It's okay to not know everything and be right and perfect. It's okay to be at a stage in one particular area of life where you're working on it while another is actually going really great. Again, full transparency, and I'm just putting it out there. When you all see me on the screen, thank you, Dr.Z. Just popped on for a moment and appreciate what you're sharing. Oh, thank you, Liz. I appreciate that. In this moment, this morning, before I went to the gym, because there was a possibility that I was going to show up like straight off of the sweat, I decided, you know what? Let me pluck my chin hairs, because I don't think that I'll be as well received if you can see my gray chin hairs or the black ones. I was like, let me just plug a couple of them. With that being said, it would totally be okay for a male to jump onto a video or a podcast of something and And maybe he didn't shave. If he's got hair, maybe his hair can be crazy. And everyone is like, oh, welcome, come in, because we're able to see the greater version of that person. But for women, and you can see it in all magazines and paparazzi and TMZ and all the stuff. When a woman is not at her perfect state, and especially if she is a public figure, you will see all the photos, all the angles of when she turns and it looks horrible or this and that, to the point a lot of people won't even bother to come out anymore. Or there will be so much prep work, like me plucking my chin hairs before I came on here, because I didn't want to have that be an additional thing that a double standard could be held towards for me. This much of me almost was like, I should take my hat off in this thing and like, let my hair be free. I mean, you can see the puffball. I'm not taking the hat off. I'm not going there. I don't have an overwhelming necessity for that level of vulnerability in this moment. But please understand, it's totally coming, people. It's totally coming. And that will only be coming when I give myself permission to not maintain a significantly higher double standard to where I can't be open, vulnerable, or raw in the public. That will negate all those degrees you see back behind me, all the certifications, all the people that have ever received services from me in any capacity, a therapist, a one-to-one behavioral specialist, me even supporting people in our battalion when I was in the Army. Like, there's so many different things that I've already done, but me possibly showing up, chin hairs, full mustache, bushy eyebrows, like they're not too bad, but showing up in that way, and maybe, the creases on my neck, just going ham for it, and got my rolls out and everything, that in that moment, there will be a double standard that some people, for sure, to include myself initially, will negate all the things that are still factual and true. I still know everything I know. Those folks that you see periodically that are on their journey towards, good morning, on their journey towards losing weight or gaining weight, because there's always this assumption that everybody's only losing. Not true. There are some folks that are like, I need to put the LBs on. When they're in that process, just because they haven't gotten there yet doesn't mean they don't know. And when we are stuck constantly putting all these double standards out, there's an assumption, well, if you knew better, you would have already done better. It could be the space of they didn't know yet, and what they knew, they didn't recall because life. And now that they're choosing to do something different, the naysayers, the negative comments, you're not going to get there, don't help. So whether you're supporting a friend, a family member, a loved one, or a perfect stranger, everybody's at a different space at a different time, and nothing takes away from what they have already accomplished, what they do have the capacity and skills to do, unless they decide it does. But with that being said, why would we be so hard on ourselves? Why would we put ourselves in a space where the world is already doing its job? The systems have already been set up to ensure that you're constantly being, chastised or like comparing yourself to other people. Why would we also then create these double standards for ourselves that prevent us from being able to see our greatness? You don't have to answer that. I'm just putting it out there as a question to maybe ask yourself when you do show up in the mornings, when you wake up. You don't have like a morning routine that already maybe includes some gratitude, some affirmations, a redirection of your focus for the day. Really look at and explore, what are the words you're saying to yourself? What are the double standards that you're creating for you? Such as, oh, I can't be late, but the rest of the world can be late, or vice versa. I'm late all the time, and the rest of the world better be on time. Like, who does that? Like, nothing about that is going to be supportive towards you, towards people around you. And at the same time, like, again, life happens. Is it a great idea to be on time? Absolutely. I'm totally here for it. I support it. I also hold a double standard, and I guess it would be holding a double standard or a grace for That is a great aspiration to work towards. If it doesn't happen, yes, the person is late. I'm late. It's already over. But is that enough to go ahead and negate and take away everything that's happening? Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But when we're holding ourselves and other folks to these intense standards, like, it does make it a little bit harder to be able to account for the gray areas. It can make it more challenging in creating these finite standards for what you want for yourself when you don't give yourself the opportunity to function at the same standard that you would give other people, to maybe explore this higher standard that you created for yourself. And then some folks, and I think something I was listening to, and they were just sharing about how people create higher standards for other people when they aren't capable of even doing them for themselves, to create just another barrier or block in being able to connect with people. Any of these different standards, if they're not helping you, why would, like, what are we doing here? And if, when you work with me, because of course some of you are totally coming through, I always say, like, it just needs to be right for you. Like, if you don't want to eat pickles, that's cool. You don't have to eat pickles, but the rest of the world might really love it. Not a problem. I'm allergic to shellfish. You're never going to be able to take me out for my birthday, which is next month, or any other things where that's going to be great for me. And this is a double standard because I would die. Some double standards do hold significant weight and allow people to be safe. Others, and this is where you really got to look at, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? And what are you trying to get out of it? Because if you're not even supporting the initial purpose or reason for maintaining these things, why are we doing them? Why are we continuing to do them? Just because that's what people have always done doesn't make it right. If it did, I wouldn't be on here right now for a million different reasons. So look at, what double standards are you creating? Have you created? Are they working for you or not? And if they're not, what do you want to do about it? You don't have to go fix everything all at once, but give yourself a little bit of space and grace to just maybe let one get explored in its fullness, and may open up some other avenues for others too. This is a great breaking point for me to check out my tea and, of course, show off my mug that says, go away. And we're just saying, go away, double standards that aren't supportive to us, because there are some that are literally keeping us safe. So, any questions, thoughts, or concerns from the people? I always love this part where we just kind of wait. I'm like, well, as usual, in the event that there are no more questions, aha moments, thoughts, concerns, I totally hope you guys have an amazing day, and that you feel free to follow, like, subscribe, like on all, do all the things, just all of it. That way I'm always available to you. It's like you have your own little personal little not angel or devil, but little speaking bubble. If you remember comics, how they would have the little bubbles that pop up, you could see what the person was thinking. Let the podcast, let the YouTube channel, let the Instagram, the LinkedIn, the Facebook group, which I do share things in the Facebook group that I don't share anywhere else. So if you want significantly a little bit more intimate interaction, by all means, click on any link, sign up to be a part of our Facebook group. Yes, we have questions because we want to know about you, so we can make sure that we're giving you what you want. Be on the lookout. There's definitely things dropping and dates for an experience that will totally be available only to women. And we will be sharing more of that starting next month for sure. But just go ahead and keep some dates in mind. Like, May 14th, May 21st, just, stuff like that. So that way you're able to show up. And if you want to, by all means, totally keep 4 or 5 in your minds, because I may show you all what I'm choosing for my birthday this year. Who knows? But please feel free to subscribe to the newsletter. We send out Freedom Friday emails every Friday, just helpful tips to like get you to be free by 5. Also, other ways to do life. You don't need to pay for it. It's free. It comes straight to your inbox. Read them when you feel like it. If you have any questions, thoughts, suggestions, or concerns, feel free to email us, info@greaterself.org. If you just want to text and chat it out, got some thoughts, some things going on, 626-722-5661. We will be more than happy to chat with you. So again, have an amazing day. Thank you all for joining on. I appreciate you. And I look forward to seeing you all on Tuesday. And yeah, have a great day, y'all.